Somewhere in the past few years, some of the asset classes that sort of hinge between real estate and infrastructure have gained increased traction.
The counterparties are not used to deal making.
We are building a very interesting school at Hyderabad airport. Children fly in on Monday morning, fly out on Friday evening.
But does it bother them that now they're getting real cash, but the asset is going off their balance sheet and the P&L is becoming heavy? But the dampener probably is the GST.
Yeah, GST is a big factor.
Because while you charge GST on the lease rentals, being a school, you can't pass it on to the students because that is exempt.
Correct.
So I think GST becomes a big challenge.
While you're underwriting school rents, how do you think about leverage? And what are the standard terms of lease? Do they pay you 12 months rent? Do they pay you 9 months rent? What's the lock-in period? What are the typical lease tenures?
The only real risk in this business is the operator risk.
Should be told, what do you do with that asset? It's not like you can stop running a school and just sell that land and tomorrow they can be office complexes.
I think the reason we got into schools was very simple, that nobody was doing it. All the top 20 global operators who are all funded by the CPPIBs and the big boys of the world are now buying schools at crazy valuation. 15 times EBITDA is what they are paying for, and they're all buying schools. So what you will see is like what happened in the hospital sector. There will be a consolidation in the school sector also.
There was a lot of debate earlier whether pure play leasing of school building, or leasing of hospital building is real estate business, which is prohibited, or it is infrastructure. How do you see the market depth? What is the cap rate that you're expecting? Yields, your exit strategy? Like, how do the numbers stack up for you? And what is the absorption? What is the depth of the market?
I think 13, 14 YOCs is at least what you need to make sense of the numbers, even if you mix debt and construction timelines and a bit of rental stabilization period.
We are looking at typically doing these deals at like 9.5, 10 cap rates in terms of going in.
There are enough private equity funds globally that want to invest in growth capital. You talked about 15x EBITDA multiple, 14x, it's not uncommon.
The problem now is that there seems to be some sort of regulatory desire or inclination in the market to align this framework with that of the listed equity space. If you're a unit holder who holds above 10% in an InvIT, even say a private listed InvIT, which is pretty much a private InvIT except it's listed for procedural reasons, then you wouldn't be allowed to vote on something like this.
I think they need to bring about a comparable situation, not looking at public markets or publicly listed companies. Whenever there's a repayment of debt and that amount is included in the distribution, to the extent it is not out of repayment of units or redemption of units, the entire amount is taxed in the hands of the unit holder as income from other sources.
Can an InvIT invest how much ever sub-debt it wants into, let's say, an SPV which is sitting outside of its structure? When you typically speak about sub-debt, I think the understanding is the shareholders are the folks who are putting in the money. I think the shareholders initially will hold whatever minor equity, but the debt which is coming in is actually coming in through the InvIT, and they are not the ones holding the debt directly.